Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR373. It's Impact Homecoming, but I am not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the Ultimate One. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm a little bit under the weather, but happy to be here like always, to talk about this homecoming show that got a lot to talk about. Got a lot of opinions on it.
Without a doubt, and of course you joined me for Impact and AEW, but the last time you joined us was for the Slammervesary review. So let's deal with the fallout of July 22nd, because we see on before the Impact released the full footage of what happened second after Slammervesary went off the air. We see Kenny Omega, Don Callis, Good Brothers waiting for Jay White to two-sweet them. White stands there, doesn't move muscle. All of a sudden, Finn Juice runs in and goes after the Good Brothers. The Elite retreat out of the ring and up to the ramp. Sammy Callahan slides in and throws a sign that was extremely close to hitting the Elite. White then grabs David Finlay, a Blade Runner, and rolls out of the ring. So we saw Jay White's big Impact debut, and we saw what happened afterwards. Were you surprised that he went after David Finlay?
Yeah. At first, yes, because I'm like, okay, what this is all about? Why did he go to after Jay White when it looked like he was about to have a confrontation with Kenny Omega? But I like the way Impact did this. It was like a little tease, like, okay, we're gonna have Jay White versus Kenny Omega down the line, and we talked about this at Slammervesary. But I guess because he attacked David Finlay, this goes back to the I believe was the New Japan Cup tournament. I think Finlay beat him in the tournament or something like that. So they're carrying it on, and now they're gonna end up wrestling in Resurgence in LA for the Never Openweight title. So it's kind of surprising because I was hoping he came for Omega, but it looks like he got other business to attend. So, and maybe we will not see Omega versus Jay White.
Well, we'll see how it goes down. We see a Slammiversary package. The first match of Impact was Chris Bay versus Rohit Raju, and the Art of Finesse got Bay to win in a great opener. Rohit's so underrated. And then Jay White greets Chris Bay in the back. White asked Bay if he's got his message. Bay said he did, but he doesn't know what White wants with him. White says the Bullet Club is always looking for recruits, and he wants to extend the olive branch to Bay. Bay declines and says he works alone. White asks Bay how that's working out. White tells him to think about his invite a little more before his offer expires. And to be invited into a Bullet Club is a big deal, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, because that the career soars to another level. And right now, Chris Bay, being where he's in Impact, I believe he was a former X Division champion, if I'm correct. But after that, he hasn't moved up to the next level. Plus, this works out for Impact. Again, Impact is taking advantage of this New Japan Pro Wrestling working relationship, and they're trying to bring it as much as everybody. If they could recruit a couple of guys in their roster as Bullet Club members, that is good for them. New Japan comes out winning also because for the last 2 years they've been trying to establish a base here in the United States, and being that they got the New Japan Strong, having somebody like Chris Bay who goes from Impact to New Japan, whether they got the Lions Cup or break or whatever it is, this is a good thing for more for Impact than New Japan, because New Japan is always going to be established regardless. But this is a big booster shot for Impact.
Yeah, I think about that. Well, backstage we see G Miller trying to get Kenny Omega's comments, but we hear from Don Callis instead. He said that Omega suffered some major damage coming out of that battle on Saturday, and when asked about Jay White, he said he was not informed about it, and he's not happy how Impact handles business. And he says if anybody else or White wants a future title shot, they have to go through him first, which I suppose is fair enough to say. Then we see Mickie James returned, was quickly before she says anything else. James reiterated the invitation. The August 26th Empower pay-per-view. Knockouts champion responded, saying every company wants a piece of her. She refused to invite until James grovelled and apologised for her actions at Slammiversary. Gail Kim appeared and tried to smooth things over. James again asked Parazzo, even extended a hand. Parazzo accepted, and the fans and descendants responded accordingly. Again, Deonna Purrazzo is the kind of centre of the Forbidden Door women's division at the moment, would you say?
Right now, yes, but you needed a woman like Deonna Purrazzo in that tournament or whatever that pay-per-view that NWA is doing, because you have to bring a marquee woman wrestler. Right now, if you don't have a Deonna Purrazzo in there, and I believe the Camille is defending her belt in that pay-per-view, if I'm correct, I think against who the hell she? I think Layla Hirsch. you need to have names in there. I think if I'm correct, Deanna Purrazzo is defending her belt. I think the Impact belt there. I'm not sure, but right now, Deanna Purrazzo outside, let's say outside of WWE, the best woman wrestlers right now in there is Deanna Purrazzo outside of Indies or whatever you want to call it in professional wrestling. That is Deanna Purrazzo, and maybe you have a Britt Baker behind it. You know what I'm saying? And maybe a Camille. Looks like a savage in that ring because she's that woman is just, I mean, mean as shit. But Deanna Purrazzo, right? Deanna Purrazzo, from skill wise, the woman knows how to wrestle. And again, I am very impressed with a wrestler or a female wrestler that works a body part in a match, but yet could still beat you doing something else, and get you out of nowhere. Because I think she has that power driver, which is a savage. I mean, again, the last 4 or 5 months, Deanna Purrazzo has been the one, and there's nobody in Impact that could beat her.
Well, like I said, that's a big statement there, but I think you're pretty spot on at the moment. But is there anybody kind of women's wrestling that can come to her at this moment in time? It'd be interesting to see what happens there. We see another vignette from Star, who calls himself the Drama Queen, and then Brian Myers, Sam Bill, Neil Dashwood versus Jake Summit, Matt Cardona, Chelsea Green. See Caleb causes distraction, and Taylor Wilder returned to the company, pulling off the apron, and Green refocused herself, cleared Dashwood out the ring, and delivered the Unprettier to Bill for the rare intergender pinfall victory. And then we see Eddie Edwards want W. Morrissey a lot. This leads to a parking lot brawl with Morrissey escaping the beatdown, retreating out of the frame. A Bloody Edwards stands tall with the fans all chanting his name. I mean, I guess it was okay. It's 1-1 now, I suppose. And then Mars needs to find a partner fast. Bill thinks he's got an idea. And then we see Jay White make his way to the ring and dress his appearance at Slammervesary. He claimed he was there for David Finlay in his the second generation competitor, even easy for me to say, could not run and hire from him an Impact. He put over the match at Resurgence. We see Don Callis, Good Brothers, Kenny Omega interrupting an argument over Bullet Club bragging rights ensued. Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows in the ring and demanded a thank you from White, only to engage him in a brawl when it did not come. Chris Bay made the save and joined King Switch in clearing the ring to the approval of the fans. I thought this was really, really good stuff.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was something I was waiting for, because it's like the original Bullet Club members meeting up with the guy who that Finn Balor, at that time, the Prince Devitt, was polishing up to be the next guy to succeed him after he left the company at New Japan. So it was like the present meeting the past, and when he got beat down, I'm like, who the hell is gonna come? I was hoping that it would have been like the Gorillas of Destiny or somebody. I did not expect Chris Bay, but it's very interesting to see where Chris Bay goes with this now, as far if he's gonna be Bullet Club member or not. I mean, you have to enjoy it, because Chris Bay needs that push in there. The Good Brothers, of course, the Good Brothers got those belts and I think by them having those belts, they make the tag team division kind of legit, because there's not a lot of tag teams in there. As far as, you probably got Finn Jews, and then by design after that, you don't have really no other tag team in there. So, it's very weird compared to where Impact was a year ago to where they're at now. So it's getting interesting. Again, Impact is taking advantage of this New Japan working relationship.
Without a shadow of a doubt, we see Josh Alexander speaking with Gia Miller after successfully retaining his X Division Championship. His next goal is to become the next face of Impact. Kenny Omega interrupts and asks Alexander if he just heard him correctly. Alexander said he did. Omega is lost for words and walks off. What I really liked about this is, of course, we're talking about, will it be Jay White, will it be someone else with Omega? And then someone like Josh Alexander who's been putting in loads of performances, and you think, I would watch that and it would be great.
Listen, I'll take my money. I want to see that Josh Alexander and Kenny Omega, because Josh Alexander, if anything, that man has pretty much, I could say, he's taking his level to another level, if you think about it, because he having these great matches, not only in Impact, but in New Japan, and he's not scared. He takes a lot of punishment. The guy, I mean, and it's funny because I used to see him team up with Ethan Page as the World Tag Team Champions back then, and right now, him being singles, listen, I don't think ain't nobody harder right now than Josh Alexander. And I don't think anybody beating him for that belt. It's funny that about 3 months ago, me and you were in this same podcast talking about that if Impact didn't sign on, it would be a big loss. Impact did the smart thing by re-signing him, and I think this guy's going to be a future world champion.
Well, like I said, he is one of the best at the moment in what he does, and it's just an enjoying job. And backstage, we see Chris Bay is pissed, and he came to Jay White's side moments ago. The Good Brothers have issued a tag team challenge from next week, and then we get Finn Juice versus Ace Austin and Fulton. So a hot tag to Robinson, spark a comeback. They include Robinson counter a slam into Fulton into a roll up for the win. But after the match, Raju and Shearer attack the victors, making it a 4-1-2 assault. Impact strike back there, I guess. And then in Scott D'Amore's office, Moose wants a rematch with Chris Sabin, and Moose and Sabin rematch in the main event next week. But the main event for this week was the Knockouts Tag Team Championship, Havoc and Rosemary versus Fire and Flavor. And we see Havoc and Rosemary seal the deal when Rosemary lands a spear on Hogan. Havoc rolls her up to retain the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Again, not a bad main event, but we talked about Kira Hogan, and this is kind of inevitable that we were going to see this happening, weren't it, really?
Yeah. I think that this was going to happen because of Hogan's contract. I think her contract is up, and they're going to break this team up, Fire and Flavor. It's sad because this team, I really like this team up, Fire and Flavor. They pizzazz, they character, they whole demeanor, and then when they went in that ring, even though there were the smaller girls in there, they could be there with like likes of Havoc or Rosemary, they could do the work in that ring as a double team, and they were quick. But when it comes to Impact and tag teams, Impact, a lot of tag teams don't last long because you grab a Kiara Hogan and you brought her in with Tasha Steele, and now you got this combination, this combo, this team that was so good in the ring. To me, I think it was very good in the ring. I mean, when they lost the title the first time, I was like, I found it like ridiculous. Why are you taking the belts away from them and then giving it to them back, and then taking them away in less than a month? I mean, I don't know. But I think I had to come down with Hogan's contract being over, and she didn't resign.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to the next Impact, August 5th. And of course, before the Impact show had Steve Macklin and Trey Miguel's match, which ended in a double count out. We see him continue to fight. Pete Williams comes up and makes a save. It was a lame finish. I guess the feud will continue. And then on to Impact. And of course, Scott D'Amore is there with Tommy Dreamer telling Don Callis that they're going to make an announcement soon about number one contendership. And we start off with Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers, versus Jay White and Chris Bay. The fans are completely behind Chris Bay and Jay White's tag team Beyblade. They chant their nicknames and make their way down to the ring. Eventually, prove the old recipe works every time, fattening Blade with the Magic Killer for the hard-fought victory. So in Jay White's first match at Impact, he loses.
Well, actually, he didn't get pinned. Bay did. So they're not gonna, Jay White is not gonna get pinned, especially he's the never open weight champion for New Japan. So, but again, I guess it all comes down about either, okay, you want to join Bullet Club, you're gonna have to take the loss, either way, In a way, though, I felt like the Good Brothers didn't need to beat them. It could have been a disqualification. Everybody's still pretty much protected. But, for Chris Bay to take that loss, if you're going to put him as a Bullet Club member, that makes no sense, to me. But I guess, they figure, well, he'll lose. He's not going to join Jay White. He just happens to be with Jay White because Jay White got jumped by the Good Brothers. So that was a little confusing there. So, but Jay White getting pinned, that was not going to happen.
No, I suppose not a bad match, really.
No, it wasn't. It was a good match. But I just felt like you didn't need to pin Chris Bay. If you're trying to elevate Chris Bay, it's bad enough that Chris Bay's been in like those exhibition matches. He either gets pinned or he gets a big time bump. If you go try to push the guy, at least put him in a tag team with Jay White and disqualification. They lose by disqualification or something like that. So.
I think New Japan value the Good Brothers from that as well. We'll move on to Fire and Flavors on a mission to get the Knockouts Tag Team titles back. Fala Bar steps in and invites Tasha Steele to go to Homecoming with him, and she accepts the invitation. Then we get Caleb with a K, lost to Taylor Wilde. An okay match. Caleb's head got spiked in one of that. And then backstage, Jay White doesn't think Chris Bay is ready to join Bullet Club. He's going to give him another chance to redeem himself. And then Josh Alexander's looking for more challenges, and Scott D'Amore's an opponent for him at Homecoming, Black Taurus. Mm-hmm. And then we see Deanna Pratso being asked if the Virtuosa with a AAA and NWA matches coming up is biting off more than she can chew. Pratso says she's absolutely not. She's offended Miller isn't asked the sort of question to Kenny Omega. She revealed she'll be in the homecoming tournament this Saturday. And is that right? Kenny Omega doesn't get asked those questions. Do you think it's Prayer Pratso? People saying, oh, she's putting too much on.
Kenny Omega was asked to join what?
Well, I was sort of saying, they're saying to Pratso, are you putting on too much? Are you doing too much with your AAA matches, with your NWA matches? And the fact is, they're not asking Kenny Omega that. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, this is the problem, I think, when it comes to Pratso is trying to put her name out there as far as, she wants to with the NWA. I mean, I think tonight she has a AAA title match, or she put against. I think she's having a belt versus belt. And listen, if you're trying to be the best, it's not something that you should be asking that person. They're trying to be the best in the world, and especially with this forbidden door. So these wrestlers are traveling from promotion to promotion, facing champions and all that. I mean, it's true. You don't ask Kenny Omega that. Omega's gonna be like he's considered the wrestling god, right? So Deanna Purrazzo is the wrestling goddess or the queen, whatever you want to call it. And you have Charlotte in WWE talking about she's the queen, right? Listen, the queen right now is Deanna Purrazzo, NWA, AAA, Impact. I mean, don't be surprised she'll end up at AEW facing Britt Baker. I mean, you gotta work, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. They say they're doing too much work. No, it's not. It's just you putting in the work. You're trying to be the best in the world, not just by wrestling in one company, but wrestling in other companies. This is like the territories. It's like the territories back in the day. Flair used to do that.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Yeah, we move on to the next match. Finn Juice Falabar No Way versus Ace Austin Madman, Fulton Rahat and Shearer. Finley catches Raju with a trash pounder finisher and gets the victory. Dave Finley picks up the win for his team. This is a really good match. Finn looks great. And then we see Gia Miller stand outside Kenny Omega's door. Tommy Dreamer steps in, reveals into the number one contendership for the title. Whoever wins that will face Omega at Emergence. You can see they're furious about it. We get a third and brand new vignette showing for the Drama Queen. And then Finn Juice says, if a charge are ready to win back the Impact World Tag Team Championships again. Just as they're getting fired up, Jay White and Chris Bay running and laid a beat down on them. White throws a moving production case towards Finley, crushing him. White gets it down with Finley face, reminds us she can't beat me. Of course, those two are set to face at Resurgence as well. What do you think of that? Of course, Advance and of course Jay White Allegiance now as well.
I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand. First of all, this whole thing with Jay White. Like I said, I thought when he came in there was with for Kenny Omega. The David Finley thing is confusing because I think they're bringing something that happened like almost 3-4 months ago and they're bringing it to Impact. I don't get that. I mean, I'm sure they're going to put a good show, but you know who's coming out of that? Jay White is not losing the belt, So that's the way I see it. That Chris Bay, the Chris Bay thing. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think Chris Bay teaming up with Jay White. I don't know. It looks like the Chris Bay is the student and Jay White is the teacher. I don't know. You get that sense?
Yeah, exactly like that. And I think it's I was talking about Bay trying to prove to White, and he's saying to him, these guys from behind, which is kind of very kind of Healy thing to do. And he actually seemed to be enjoying it. He's like, right, if you can do these and pass this test, then you'll be ready. Or at least he's shown the intelligence saying, whilst he's here, like I said, he hasn't got his proper backup to actually make friends as well,
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, when Chris Bay first came to Impact, he was the hottest thing going on from the independent scene into Impact, because there was a lot of talk about him. I didn't get to see him probably maybe last year when I got to see him, and I saw him in New Japan, and I was like, this guy he got so much talent. And him and Ace Austin are like the two guys in there that I said these guys should have been world champions by now. But it's like they stopped Chris Bay momentum. I don't know if because he got hurt, and then when he came back, now they're pushing. Then they were pushing Ace Austin at one point. I mean, me and you talked about it. He had the X Division Cup, whatever it was. and he didn't even get a title shot right away. So, Impact sometimes, I don't know, their booking is kind of weird, Now you have Chris Bay. I understand Chris Bay is a young guy, he's probably, 23, 25, something like that. But Jay White is not far. Jay White's 28. So Jay White's been around. He's probably been in the wrestling business a little longer than Chris Bay, but, they're making it look like the student and the teacher. So,
Yeah. Well, we see Kenny Omega in the ring, and Callis referred to him as greater than Ric Flair. Sami Callihan interrupted proceedings. Section of talent ring, not as the best in the world, but rather a bunch of bitches. And he said next week, him and two partners will battle the Good Brothers and Omega in a 6-man tag team matchup. The Hills dare Callahan to bring the fight, and then the Elite Hunter Frank Kazarian hit the ring, attacked and joined by the draw. And backstage, Tommy Dreamer approached Kazarian and Callahan about the 6-man tag match and had creating intrigue in who the opponent partner would be for that. It's a bit of a shame they did kill the Elite Hunter on Dynamite before he made his Impact debut, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Listen, I like Cass. I love Cass. I've been following Cass since, I believe, 2002 when I first started watching Impact. But it's funny? This reminds me, you remember in Japan they had the Bullet Club Hunter?
Yes, yeah.
And they made him look crappy. This guy was always in some wrestling match, supposedly hunting Bullet Club members, but he always got pinned. I forgot his name. He was a Japanese guy. But they doing the same thing with Frankie Kazarian. They did it. They killed him in AEW when I think he got beat up. I think who the hell beat him up? I think he fought Gallows. He fought Gallows, and then after the match, the whole Elite just beat the crap out of him. And I think Hangman Page came out. But then, so now you have no use for him in AEW, so you ship him to Impact to fight against the same group that just beat his ass up in AEW. It doesn't make sense.
Well, we see Sue Young has re-emerged. She brought a new form of Kimberly with her, and then Brian Myers thinks he has a new partner set for King and Queen tournament. The Queen of Extreme, Francine, but after finding out she was the second pick, she refuses to team up with him. Then we see VBD's losing streak continue as Dina and the world's widest man lost to Mac and Swan. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Because we really rated Violent by Design, didn't we?
Listen, this is the same. Listen, we talked about, again, we're talking about booking. You get the fans, Violent by Design, that group, when they were put together, and then you added Rhino into the mix. I mean, I said to myself, I don't see anybody stopping them. All of a sudden, you put them in, I think it was a 4-way tag team where No Way Jose was in that match. I think with Fala Bala, if I'm correct. They got the Good Brothers. But Violent by Design during that match, they only came in once and they got pinned. By Rhino got pinned. So when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. You're killing right now the hottest heel group right now that you have in your company and whatnot. And then they lose again, and then they're feuding with Rich Swann and Willie Mack. First of all, Willie Mack, that guy, he gets pinned every other week for some reason. And yeah, you put him in there to team up with Rich Swann. I understand Rich Swann. I guess the company likes him a lot. But come on, we're talking about Violent by Design. Joe Doran, this guy is taller than everybody and when they all face each other. And you having them lose, you're already killing their momentum. So if you put them against the Good Brothers, I'm going to be like, oh, I don't care. I won't care because you're already killing their momentum.
This is the thing, and this is what we're saying. And speaking of tall men, we see W. Morrissey ruining the fun at Swingers Palace by warning Alicia that her husband, Eddie Edwards, will not return the same. Then we see Eddie Edwards pissed off by this, and Tommy Dreamer asking him if he will be the partner in a 6-man tag match against the Elite. And because Dreamer asked, Edwards is in. And now on to the main event, Moose versus Saban. And of course, we saw Moose getting upset at Slammervesary. It did not happen this time as the Lights Out earned a hard-fought victory to even the series at one apiece. But after the match, Saban delivered a crossbody and pounds away at the victor. And of course, leading up towards the match. So Moose gets the win. But are they just, again, not to have a go at Impact, but is Moose just kind of like going around in a circle at this moment in time? You're finished, you know what I mean? Because
it's let me tell you something. We just finished talking about Violent by Design, right? They're doing the same shit to Moose. Moves. I'm telling you, now I understand your frustration because I think about it right now, and I'm like, wait a minute. This guy, I remember back in January, 7 months ago, he was in Hard to Kill and a 6-man tag with the Elite, and he was taking it to Kenny Omega, and I kept saying he's the one who should be the world champion. He should be the one to face Kenny Omega. But ever since he faced Kenny Omega, I think it was in June or July, something like that. They haven't done anything with him. He lost to Chris Sabin, I believe was his Slammervesary.
Yep.
And now they give him another opportunity. Oh, now you can beat Sabin. What? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. They don't know what they're doing with him. You know what I'm saying? So they got to get the eggs in one basket instead of pushing all these guys, making them hot, making people like myself and yourself sit down who are, professional wrestling fans, and we're like, wow, they're going to push these guys. And then we sit there and we just watch these guys get pinned. For example, Chris Sabin. Why does he got to get pinned by Chris Sabin? Chris Sabin don't need to win. He's been around, he's done everything in Impact. Give the guys like Moose an opportunity to elevate to the next level. That's the guy who should be right now in the main event.
I completely agree with you. But like I said, not a bad couple episode of Impact. We move on now, July 31st. Of course, Homecoming. We open up a video package. Morrissey versus Eddie Edwards in a hardcore match. Josh Alexander versus Black Taurus. And the first Impact Homecoming King and Queen. Of course, Matt Striker, Dina Brown on commentary. Our first round matchup is Hernandez and Alicia versus Yella Pratsu and her partner. And the Virtuosa coming out here with massive chance. And then it's Matthew Raywalt emerging in the ring. The Drama King is here. He asks us to imagine a world where the works of Van Gogh, Bach, or Beethoven were never heard of. He introduced to create a masterpiece side by side with the Tarosa. What are your thoughts on Matthew Reinhold, the former Calls Aiden English, being a part of this tournament and in Impact Wrestling?
First of all, I was waiting when the hell he was going to show up at Impact, to be honest. I was very happy to see him because, I think WWE did not know how to use him. They had him with Miro, and they were getting over like crazy. And then, the old man decided, no, you can't be bigger than the company. And then when they shut them down, and then they let them go last April. So for him to come back, he looks good. He looks lean. And him and Deonna Purrazzo, I mean, that could have been a better tag team in that whole tournament than them too, because I didn't even know they call him the Drama King. Was it the Drama King?
Drama King, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I saw him and I was like happy to see him. I was like, okay, let me see what he does. He looks way better than when he was in WWE. I think anybody that comes out of WWE goes to another promotion that looks way better. And him and Deonna matched up real good.
Well, without a doubt. And on to the match, we see the men tagging in Hernandez with the ball. Looks like a border toss, but actually a shoulder breaker for two. Deonna making a save, but Alicia takes her out. Hernandez with a dive. Alicia going to join in with a dive of her own. Ray Wardlow with a kick and some clubbing shots. Modified double underhook DDT get on the big man. Hernandez actually looked really good. I thought this was quite a fun opener. What were your thoughts on this one?
This match was it was pretty good. I mean, I can't knock it because it was the first one. So I mean, again, I like the combination of Purrazzo and what's his name again? Raywalt.
Raywalt, yeah.
Yeah, Raywalt, because they matched up. You know what I'm saying? And anything that, again, I don't expect Deonna Purrazzo to lose any match. I don't care if she's in a tag team or singles. So so Hernandez, he looks like he's trimmed up. Alicia, I'm not a big fan of her. That's she could have just sat in the back, to be honest.
So we're gonna.
This match I give it like a 3.5.
3.5. I'm going to give it 3 3/4 out of 5. Thought it was a nice way to set the tone for the evening. Up next, the tournament continues with Jordan Thick Mama Pump Grace and Little Petey Pump Williams versus Matt, the face of the GCW, Cardona, and Chelsea Hot Mess Green. I love the Thick Mama Pump attire. If she became that character, I would not mind it. Jordan tags in and slams Cardona. She helps Petey with another slam, which I thought was brilliant as well. We see Chelsea kicking Petey, going for destroy of her own. That doesn't happen. Petey and Jordan both tease the move, but that doesn't happen either. Another double team does work, so it sees Cardona lifts his way out of it. Jordan breaks her up to target Cardona. A dive by Petey to Matt. The women go back and forth. and Chelsea hits the unprettier that gets the 3. I thought there's some great tandem offense in this. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I like the whole little Big Papa Pump gimmicks they were doing. But Jordan Grace, that woman, she's not scared to get in that ring with no guy either. I mean, and that's one thing I found about this tournament, that guys were allowed to lock up with the females. So the match was pretty good. I mean, I expected Cardona and Green to win. I think Cardona did most of the work. Chelsea Green was you could tell she was very, very hesitant because of that wrist. But she still got that cast on it. And I think she rebroke it again. I don't know why she's in that ring with that. But it was a pretty good match. I mean, it wasn't, you had a little comedic parts there that I felt that, they did the push up, which was hilarious. I mean, it looked like they were honoring Scott Steiner. That's the way I see it during this match.
You think the reaction if Scott Steiner was to return when they're just like that, it would just be mega, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Have them do a 6-man tag. That would be hilarious.
That is money there.
Yeah.
We see Steve Macklin running in though and attacking Petey. Of course, we talked about their issues on Impact. And then we see W. Mossy talk about Eddie Edwards. We move on. First round matchup: Tommy, Animal Dreamer, and Rachel Hawk Ellering versus Brian Myers and partner. Of course, Dreamer then rocking the Road Warrior face paint and shirts. And then Myers has a mystery partner, apparently chosen by Bill, and introduce her. Remember her from World Class Championship Wrestling, UWF, WCW, and ECW. It's a walking right, Missy Hyatt. And Missy wasn't exactly known for wrestling back in the day. She has kept in shape over the years, but she didn't know. She moves a hill. Here we go. What are your thoughts on that as a tag team partner?
Oh my God! I was watching this. I said, this. What's wrong with Impact? Do they not know that Missy Elliott was never a wrestler? She was a manager all the time. She got in the ring, I think, with Dog Journey probably one time. It was these two women pulling hair. That's about it. But I mean, I don't know. To me, I think it was again comedic. I think I found this was more of a comedic match. I mean, the fact that I see Tommy Dreamer with Road Warrior Animal face paint, I'm like, why? First of all, why is Tommy Dreamer in a match?
Yeah.
Why? That's the first thing that came into my mind.
But I remember a conversation I had with you, and I said, when Tommy Dreamer, I think, had like a hardcore match, and I said, oh, this will be the end. You were like, nah, he's going to keep coming back. And it's true. It's like, why does he? The amount of talent that Impact has got.
He had, you know what it is? I don't mean to cut you off, but it seems to me that, and it's true, I guess wrestlers, when they love the business, they don't know how to let it go, But for you to come in because you're teaming up with Paul Ellering's daughter and paint your face like Road Warrior Animal, and then you got those polka dots, so you in members of Road Warrior Animal and Dusty Rose, and then the daughter had the, I think, Hawks paint. I mean, it was all cool, but I kept saying, you telling me that you don't have anybody else that could have teamed up with Rachel Ellering? Why it had to be Tommy Dreamer?
Well, we see the old Tommy going to the top rope for the old double team axe handle. He sees, I'm sure, climbs from down to the bottom rope and drops it from there. We then see the crowd wanting Missy. They get some Myers offense instead. Dreamer versus the Spirit attempting to Spicoli driver. The men need a tag. Missy doesn't want it. She gets off the apron. This gives Dreamer time to recover and gets Myers up for the electric chair. And the Doomsday Divide. The job done. I did think that you still got a chance for funny for Missy, even though she didn't even get involved.
She didn't do shit. You still got what? You still got nothing. You still. I couldn't believe it. I don't know who paid those people in the crowd, because they were like, you still got it. I'm home like, you still got what? Your purse? Because it was ridiculous. I'm like, and let me tell you something. A guy like Brian Myers, I think Brian Myers is another guy who's been kind of hot as of late, because of his gimmick and the way he's coming out. You put him in a situation in a tag team match where he's losing more than he's gaining, because you put him in there. The guy's name is Sam Beal. Am I correct?
Yes.
So you got him with this goofball, Sam Beal, and he brings Missy Hyatt. And how does that elevate Brian Myers in that match? And again, why is Tommy Dreamer in this match anyway? What is he going? He's elevating where? So I found this match. I was saying to my house like this was terrible because this match should have never happened. As far as Tommy Dreamer being part of Rachel Ellering's tag team partner, you could have grabbed anybody in the back. Okay, and then
what I was about to say, I want to know your score for it as well.
Oh man, I give that shit a 2. It was garbage. Okay, I'm like, please, and I'm hoping to God, please don't let Tommy Dreamer and Ellering go to the finals, because then I'm really gonna be like, and have them become the king and queen. I will never watch Impact again.
Well, do you know what? I didn't mind it. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Just
What?
for shit. I had a smile on my face when I was watching it.
You're being too generous. You're being too generous.
I am a kind man. We see Eric Young and Violent Bite Design here to tell us about the failure. It's not a faction, it's a way of life. The role belongs to them. And now final first round matchup to Kay, Rosemary Crazy versus Fowler and Flavor. See who's done there. We get into the match. Rosemary runs into the bar. We get some mockery from Fowler, leading to the weirdo sitting up. Tag to Steve, who drop kicks various parts of Bar, which really don't do much. We see him avoiding Bar's buttload, to be fair. The women tag in. Rosemary takes the upper hand, splash to the corner. T-bone suplex, gets 2. Seals with kick, which Rosemary booted. Rosemary with the old can of shell head scissors on the ropes. Bar tries to splash Rosemary, but gets splashes, steals instead. And Steve with various strikes hitting the jumping DDT for the 3 count. Now, before you go, I actually really found this funny. What were your thoughts?
Decay versus Balor and Steels, right? Yeah. This match, okay. Let me look at my notes here, because again, comedy. I think there was more comedy involved. I think this match was a better match than the one before that, for the simple fact that you had a little comedy there and there. But other than that, I don't know. I was real iffy about it. I figured Decay was going to win this one because it looks like now the company is pushing Decay again. But, there's not much I can say. You knew. It's like you already dictate that when Rosemary goes all the way back, she's going to stand right back up and whatnot, So it's nothing. It wasn't that entertaining to me. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna give this probably a 2.5. I wasn't too crazy about it. No, I wasn't too crazy about it.
I'm gonna give this another 3.5 because Bar made me laugh out loud. That did go down too easy, and it's nice to see the wrestlers having fun working for fans again. Well, after the first round match, we see Steve Maclin tell us he's going after the X Division Championship, and Pete Williams in his way, and then Willie Mack versus Dean. Is filling the hole here. Mack started on fire, but numbers help Dina take control. We see Rhino making sure Dina's foot is on the ropes after getting stunned. So Swan takes out Rhino Doring. EY whacks Mack with a VBD flagpole, and Dina takes advantage for the 3 count. So after the filler match, at least Violent by Design won. Pretty basic this was, wasn't it?
Listen, I think this is one of the best matches of the night, non-tournament, because I saw there were 3 matches already during the night already, or 2, or 3. It was 3. When I saw that Willie Mack versus Dina, I said, okay, let's see if they could top all 3 matches that were ahead of that. And I think this match did top the first 3, because you had Dina. At one point he looked like he was on the run. Actually, he attacked Willie early in the match, and then you had Violent by Design trying to interfere, kind of backfire because Willie Mack came coming, after Dina with a lot of offense, and it wasn't. I think I think it was somebody grabbed Willie Mack's leg, whatever, and that's when Dina started doing his thing. But this match, because of the high impact moves and all that, Dina kept getting out, and it wasn't until I think it was Swan got into it with the guys outside, and then Eric Young blasted Mack with the damn flagpole. That's what Dina won the match. But this match, as soon as I saw this match finish, I said, this is the best match so far. I'd rather see this damn tournament of Queen and King. So, yeah.
What are you going to score out of 5?
I'll give it a 3.5 or 3. I'm gonna have 3 3/4. I'm gonna give it.
I'm going to give this a 3.5. I've been watching Impact all year, and I don't think I've seen Willie win a match when it actually mattered as well. We then see Miller interviewing Cardona and Green, who do everything together, and then lead to semi-final. Deanna Praxton and Matthew Raywalt versus Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. And it breaks up the tag attempt, and Chelsea inadvertently distracts the ref. She tags in a few seconds later and goes crazy on Deonna. Raywalt grabs Chelsea, but it's hit with radio silence. Deonna gets stomped by Chelsea, but Raywalt tags in, goes for the unprettier. She reverses, tag Cardona in. Flapjack to Raywalt. Deonna breaks up the reboot attempt, and she and Chelsea take each other out on the outside. Raywalt and Cardona with some reversals. Then Raywalt hits his new finisher of his and gets the 3 count. So another good match and a big victory there for Matt Raywalt. Final match.
This match was good, and Impact dropped the ball on this one, and I'm gonna tell you why. So the last couple of months, I remember Deonna Purrazzo has been saying online that she would love to have a one-on-one match with Chelsea Green, whatever. I think they should have had this match as the final instead of what we got, because when I saw these two fight, Chelsea and Deonna Purrazzo face off, I was like, oh, cool. But I would have rather see it in the finals because it would have been more intrigued, And, other than that, the match was great. I mean, like I said, Chelsea Green could, because of that risk, she does very limited stuff. But again, Redwood looked good, and that face front DDT that he does against Cardona, and I knew they were gonna lose because because they were already, they put them together in the second round. It was like, to me, I felt like if they really wanted to make it intrigue and make it like, oh, I gotta see the finals, they should have had that match in the finals. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. Again, I thought it was well done by all involved there. What are you going to score out of 5?
I'll give that a 3 3/4 because it was a pretty good match. We got to see the face-off between Purrazzo and Chelsea Green. I just hope that Chelsea Green's her arm gets better, and maybe down the line these two girls will face off.
Yeah, without a doubt, I'm going to give that 4 as well. We'll move on to our second semi-final, Decay versus LOD. And we see Rosemary and Rachel start, crowd in favour of both teams here. Rachel wants a handshake. Rosemary licks her hand, so Rachel licks her hand. And that's all pretty gross. And then we get a 4-way bite. And then we see Dreamer taking a bite, DDT by him. Rosemary breaks that up. Rachel tosses her outside. Steve delivers some shots to the coolest Dreamer, then hits a cannonball for 2. Rachel makes outside. Dreamer hits an ace crusher, then calls for Doomsday. Rosemary breaks that up and spears Rachel. Dreamer goes, Rosemary hits a pile driver, and then Rosemary literally asks for it. Steve and Dreamer with some reversals, and Steve gets a roll-up 3. I thought this was, again, fun, and maybe surprised Decay won. I don't know what you thought about it.
It was fun. They just broke all COVID protocols. I'm home, and I'm like, okay, they're breaking all COVID protocols. They're biting each other. They're licking their hands, and But besides that, the match was competitive. I like the one thing they didn't do with Ellering and Dreamer was what they did in the first match. So this match was a little bit competitive. I was surprised that Crazy Steve rolled up Tommy Dreamer, but then again, I figured like, well, you know what? Tommy Dreamer don't need to be winning no match. So when I saw him win. I saw Steve win the match. I said, good. We don't want to have Tommy Dreamer in the finals. So I just feel bad for Rachel Ellering because I think she should have deserved to go to the final. Not with Tommy Dreamer, though. But this match, it was pretty good. It was pretty fun. I'll give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I think 3.5 there for that. And then we move on to the Impact X Division Championship match. Black Taurus versus champion Josh Alexander. Fans chant both these guys. And the fans want them to fight forever, but I don't think that will actually happen. Alexander goes for the ankle lock. Taurus rolls through. Another shot in the corner, staggers off. Ankle lock. Insecurity takes Alexander down low, followed by a sling blade. They go up top and Taurus goes for a runner, but it's blocked. Alexander gets him on his back and then Finley roll off the top. Strike exchange with both on the knees, back to the feet, and the strikes continue. Alexander gets advantage to a Taurus headbutt, misses in the corner, but Taurus hits a discus clothesline, runs into a boot, and then gets hit by a powerbomb backbreaker, and a C4 spike from Josh Alexander gets the 3 count. This was a change of pace on the night, wasn't it?
Oh, listen, this match, I think this match was the match of the night, and I'm going to call it right now. That this match was pretty good because I mean, Black Taurus showed me a side of him. I mean, I've been following this guy since he was in AAA and all that stuff the last couple of years, but he shows you that he can hang with anybody. I mean, he gave Josh Alexander a hard time. I mean, there was points in the match that looked like he almost pinned Josh a couple of times. But then again, like I said, Josh Alexander has been the hottest wrestler right now, besides Kenny Omega, who's been going and up and down the Impact, whatever. But the homegrown Impact wrestler has been Josh Alexander. As far as no one can beat this guy. This guy finds ways to win, and once he catch you with the ankle, starts working with the ankle. Then he did hit that C4 spike. He could beat you in so many ways, and that's what makes him good. So I don't see anybody in the X division beating this guy. And I think he's gonna whoever challenges him in Bound for Glory is gonna be somebody that's gonna give him a run for the money. But right now, I don't see anybody. And Taurus gave him a run for his money, and Taurus really impressed me with those hard, stiff shots and all that. But Josh Alexander, man, this guy finds a way to win.
Yeah, without. I mean, the trade at the end was vicious, and Alexander was just so damn impressive. I'm going to give this a 4.25 out of 5.
I give that 4.5 because this was a good match, very good. It was. I mean, again, I thought the Willie Mack and Diener match was pretty good, but this one was like on some other level where they were a bunch of. I mean, at one point you saw Josh Alexander just it looked like he had a stinger because he rolled out of the ring and kept shaking his shoulder. So he could have lost. But, he showed his true grits,
Well, and also talk about injuries. Black Taurus lost a horn during that with his mask. So
yeah. Well, I saw his horn with cotton balls coming out, and I was like, what happened to his horn? I'm like, oh shit, what? That's why he threw him up on the top rope. I'm like, what happened to his horn? Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Well, we'll move on to the final of the Homecoming King and Queen tournament. Down in practice with Matthew Raywalt versus Rosemary and Crazy Steve. We see Steve and Matthew start off the extended version of Decay's entrance ends. And then we get a few back and forth. Interesting matchup here for the final. We see Raywalt bagging Crazy Steve off, and Deanna comes in and everybody's in now. And we see Steve with a bat rake, tag to Rosemary, swinging DDT variation. Farm is carried by Raywalt, tagged to Perazzo, but Rosemary spears Raywalt. Jonah blocks the power driver, but doesn't block the reverse DDT. Raywalt with a neck snap from behind, but Steve over the top with a dive on Raywalt. And Deanna hits the Queen's Gambit on the weakened Rosemary and gets the 3 count. There you go. We have a new King and Queen in Impact, and it is so. And Matthew Raywalt, what was your thoughts on this matchup?
Listen, to me, they deserve it. I think they were the better team in the whole tournament. They work together real good. Not that Decay didn't do their work, but listen, the crowds matched them. It matches with them. It's perfect. Again, Deanna Purrazzo. I don't know who's gonna beat her. And then now you got Matthew Raywalt in there. He's gonna be one guy. He may give Josh Alexander a hard time because everybody will see him. They figure like, oh, he can't wrestle. That guy could wrestle. And these are two. Rainbow is one guy you gotta watch in the next couple of months to see where he goes. But if they know how to book him correctly, the way they're booking him right now, he could go a lot of places. But if they just 50-50 book him like they do with most Violent by Design, he's gonna be lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. But I thought the final was great stuff and handed to Impact for a fun tournament as well. And I think the right team won in the end. A great introduction to the drama queen, and Perazzo, who can't stop winning, is now the queen. What do you score that main event, the tournament final of that? Because I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
About 4 out of 5. Yeah, but that's how much. Because I think that was one of the best tournament matches in the whole thing. Because I think I found the tournament. There was time a little bit of of comedy and all that stuff, but especially that Missy Hyatt thing. Oh God, I don't think I could ever get that out of my mind. But but other than that, it was kind of fun. The right people won it. If Purrazzo and Raywalt would have not won it, then it was a waste of time.
I would agree, and we move on to the main event of the night, which is the hardcore match, W. Morrissey versus Eddie Edwards. We see Morrissey with a sneak attack to start things off. We get a powerbomb and a slew of weapons as well. But Edwards finds a Singapore cane named Kenny under the ring. And a shot to Morrissey. Morrissey, though, manages to boot Edwards off the top and send him through a table. We see Edwards fight off the chokeser through a ladder attempt on the apron, but takes one with Morrissey standing on the floor instead. And Morrissey gets another table. The fans chant, "No more tables." I don't think I've ever heard that in my life with the crowd saying,
no more tables." Because it's boring. It's like, go ahead, continue, because I got something to say about this match.
Well, the table is then set up in the corner. Edwards is brought back in. Morrissey has a zip tie so he can lock Eddie's hands together. Morrissey gets a pain and takes some shots at Edwards, but he misses a big boot, and Edwards shoulder tackles him through the table. He breaks the zip tie looking for Kenny. The kendo stick takes to the back of Morrissey. The big man's busted open. Eddie wraps a chain around his knee for a potential busted knee party and connects to it for the 3 count. Eddie Edwards beats the undefeated. What were your thoughts on this matchup?
First of all, when it comes to Morrissey, if you're trying to build this guy as a monster, okay, now you're going to put him in a match with Eddie Edwards in a hardcore match and have Eddie Edwards beat this guy. If you think about it, if you looked at the match, they spend more time looking for objects than wrestling. I mean, it was just like, I was like, by the time this guy picked something up, the guy could have went around and hit him with something, and it was like, it's becoming with this Eddie Edwards matches. This is not the Eddie Edwards I remember when from Ring of Honor. I remember Eddie Edwards having classic matches with Davey Richards, and this hardcore stuff. He's becoming another Tommy Dreamer, and it's just, you already know who's gonna win. It's like, it's like the same thing when he had the match with Sami Callihan. He beat Sami Callihan, but if you're trying to build Morrissey as this big, tough guy, he should have beat Eddie Edwards in this match. I mean, the fact that he chokeslammed him on top of a ladder and he bounced off like a rubber ball, I mean, that alone, it just didn't make sense. He's zip tied, and then he shoulder blocks Morrissey through a table, then he snapped a zip tie. I mean, come on, man. Come on. So, I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of feelings about this match. I gave this match a 3.
Well, I give it a 3. I mean, I'm not expecting Morrissey to. I guess they're not expecting Morrissey to extend after Bound for Glory. It was an okay main event. I'm going to give it a 3.5 there, because, like you said, after a while, it is just looking for weapon shot, table spot.
Yeah, it's like
weapon table.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the fans are saying no more tables. It's like every other pay-per-view, Impact gotta have hardcore match. I mean, I've been watching a lot of the Impact stuff just because we do the review. But I mean, since I've been following it, it's like every other. If it's not this pay-per-view, the next pay-per-view is an Impact. It's a hardcore match, and that's coming from Tommy Dreamer, because Tommy Dreamer he's one of the bookers in the back, so he's doing hardcore. So you don't need hardcore stuff. Hardcore stuff to me is played out. Have them fight in a regular match, and if Eddie Edwards beats him, then you'd be like, okay, he beats him. But you're trying to build Morrissey, and that means, like you said, he may not be around at that Bound for Glory.
Well, we look back at the pay-per-view as a whole. Our match for the night was the X Division title match between Black Taurus and Josh Alexander. But MVP of the night, because I think for mine it's pretty easy. I've got to say it's the Drama King, because it's basically the introduction was all about him, really. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, you're right. I will give him the MVP due to the fact that the guy hasn't wrestled in God knows how long. He comes into Impact. He looks great. They teamed them up with the best in there, which is Deonna Purrazzo. I mean, they win the tournament. The damn crowns look good on them. I mean, you can't ask for anything. That's the best way to bring in a guy into a promotion and whatnot. And, and win the whole tournament, and it was great. I honestly, and to be honest, I don't think they should have another homecoming. Let's keep that this one and one time only, because I don't think if you try to do it all the time, they're not going to look the same, And
I would, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, I would agree, yeah.
And if they're going to do this homecoming all the time, it's going to get stale, I think they did this just because that's the rumor that WWE might do a female King of the Ring and all that. because Impact do still follow a lot of the WWE stuff.
But then again, it's also a case of they need an Impact special every month. We've just had the pay-per-view, so the thing on there like he did last time with Hardcore Justice was just like, oh, it's a gimmick pay-per-view, which I kind of don't mind really. But out of 10, I'm going to give this an 8.25 out of 10 because nothing of real note happened. But I thought it was actually quite a fun 3 hours spent. And I think if you don't want to take yourself too seriously, whatever it is, then it's fine. But you don't need to watch it to kind of keep you involved in the storylines and Impact at this moment.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Yep, I'm a hard critic on this. 7.5 because the tournament they did have the right people winning it. All right, the 3 matches they had, was it 3 of them? Yeah, 3 matches they had. With the exception of one, which I don't even think that should even be main event. I think that Deonna Purrazzo and Ray Wall winning it should have been the main event. But other than that, like I said, I don't think they even needed to do this pay-per-view. But yeah, it was fun to see what was going on. I went in with the mindset, I said, okay, there's going to probably be some storyline, whatever. But it was just a regular tournament. As far as the other matches, I think pretty much if they didn't end this the storyline, and that's the Morrissey against Eddie Edwards. But in honesty, TNA should not be doing pay-per-views every month. They should build. You know what I'm saying? Build for the 2 months, and then like you got like Slammervesary, you got Bound for Glory. Or they should do like they used to do back in the day. They used to have that tournament, and they have for the Bound for Glory, and then they get points, and then whoever wins the tournament, then they get a title shot at Bound for Glory. That's what they should do. But they're still away from that.
Well, we'll pick it up at August 5th, the Impact after Homecoming in the BTI pre-show. See Fallah Bahh lose to Crazy Steve. Opening match of Impact is Chris Bay with Jay White defeating Juice Robinson with David Finlay. Finish saw Jay White and Finlay brawl outside after White tried to distract Robinson, but distraction was enough that allowed Bay to hit the art of finesse of Robinson to get the win. And after the match, White officially gave the Bullet Club T to Bay, accepting him in the stable. And like we said, Bay's a star. Is this him now actually going to start becoming a player in the industry, of being a official member of the Bullet Club?
Yeah, and I think he's going to be more cocky than ever now because he's now part of a faction that's been around in wrestling for already 8 years. So, even though I saw the shirt that came out with it's called the Finesse Club. It looks horrible, but anyway, but him being part of Bullet Club now, it pretty much now he could go to New Japan whenever they have the Lions Cup tournament. I think it's in September they usually have it, or when they decide to go back to Japan, he would go for the Best of the Super Junior representing Bullet Club. So it's pretty good because now you think about it, these now they have Bay, they have Ishimori, who's one of the best Super Juniors they have, and Phantasmo in the group. So they keep adding people. They keep adding people, and like, again at the end it's good for Impact because now you got a Bullet Club member. And they, like I said, Impact, and I'm going to keep saying it, Impact is taking advantage every little minute with New Japan.
Oh, I mean, the Forbidden Door allowing us this great opener. When you think of 3 of the 4 guys, it was a singles match, but the 4 guys there are all contracted to kind of New Japan, and you just think this is really working in Impact's favour. Then we see the Elite interviewed, and Callis saying there was a trio top wrestlers in the world. There was no combination that could contend with Omega and the Good Brothers. Violent by Design confronted them and told the Good Brothers at Emergence they're calling for the tag title rematch. So VBD stepping up. Are you excited to Violent by Design versus the Good Brothers?
Well, I want to see them go on one-on-one because the last one, like I said, I think it was Slammervesary, they had a 4-way, so they really didn't get to go at it. I mean, we had a little tease between Joe Doring and Luke Gallows facing all going at it, and that was about it. So, yeah, I mean, and I think if Violent by Design beat the Good Brothers for the belt, it just should be no problem because the Good Brothers already had those tag team belts twice. Unless they're trying to keep the Good Brothers, with those belts, so they could go to AEW and defend them like they did this past week against the Dark Order. I mean, it depends, but Violent by design, those belts should have never been taken away from them. That's the way I see it.
Well, I'd like to talk about another tag team that should have never had the titles taken away from Fire and Flavor. Talk about their match after a rough couple of days. Hogan said they were ready to get the W tonight. Hogan had a bit of backhand compliments about Steele's performance at the homecoming tournament. And then we see the Drama King, Matthew Rayhold, come out to the ring to cut a promo. The crowd stopped rudely interrupting him. He introduced Gianna Perazzo. She said she'd been collecting accolades since debuting for Impact Wrestling. She found down all of her achievements when Mickie James interrupted. Perazzo once again berated James for calling her during her ceremonies. James told her she said that, but it's business to steal the contract for NWA's Empower. Perazzo said she needs to know who her opponent was, and out came Melina Perazzo and Melina exchanged some words with the usual threats of beating each other, and both signed a contract. Come on down. The door is open for women as well. This is good to see Melina making her Impact debut.
Yeah, it's funny because that's what I named my daughter, Melina. I named her Melina after her. She's one of my favorites. I met her a couple of years ago at a signing. Melina coming back into wrestling is very good for wrestling. I mean, I don't think she's at the level of Deonna Purrazzo, but this is going to be a good match. And again, it shows you again the forbidden door being open. Now it looks like NWA is working with Impact, which is pretty good. I haven't seen Melina wrestle in a while. I think I saw one match she had. I think it was a tag team. So, but I don't know. I can't see her beating Deonna Purrazzo. No way. No freaking way. I mean, if she beats her, I'll be pissed off because Deonna Purrazzo is on some other level right now.
Without a doubt, we see Taylor Wilde getting interviewed and saying that she hasn't been around because someone with called Calvin with a K putting a complaint. Enough of this, please. And then somewhere in our dead realm, we see Kimberly ask Mother Sue Young if she can collect souls for her. And then Jake Something defeated Trey Miguel, Daivari, and Raju in an X Division number one contendership match. This was really good, and Something would be similar challenge to maybe as Taurus was, because Jake Something's quite a big man. What do you think of Jake Something being a number one contender to the X Division Championship?
Well, that again, like I said earlier, I mean, you're gonna have to bring somebody. I mean, Jake Something don't look like a damn exhibition guy. He looks like a heavyweight. But look at the guy who's holding it, which is, Josh Alexander. And I mean, and the good thing about what I like about the X Division and Impact is they don't discriminate. Because I remember back in the day, I know Kurt Angle won all the damn belts at TNA back in 2007, 2008, whatever. He even had the X Division Championship. Jake Something, I believe they should have pushed him more in the main event tier. Because, I mean, they would push him when he was feuding with Violent by Design with Diener. And then, he had this new look and all that. And then they just stopped. Again, like I said, the 50-50 booking that Impact does, it looks like they're pushing somebody. They look like he's going somewhere. And then next thing you know, he gets beaten by somebody. So, Jake Sutton against Josh Alexander, that's going to be very interesting. Because I still see Alexander going to beat him. Because I think Alexander has... again, he starts working on your ankle. That's it. It's over. But it's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, I think without that, well, backstage, Raju for a fit. And he should be the one challenge for the title. Matt Cardona confronted him because he tossed his bag. He almost hit Chelsea Green. Raju just walked away. And then Josh Alexander wanted to say something about Jake, something on the title shot. He was happy about it, but Daivari confronted him not getting a shot himself, and he told Daivari if he can beat him next week, he will defend the championship against him too. And then we see Jordan Grace, Rachel Ellen defeating Fire and Flavor after the match. Stills looked frustrated at Hogan. Suddenly, Savannah Evans came out and took Hogan out as Stills watched. I mean, nice matching attires by Ellen and Grace. Tag finisher looked great, but that looks like it's for Hogan, and Evans will just replace her in the team then, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it did. That's exactly what they did. They took her out, and now you're not gonna see her ever again. And that she's done. She's done with Impact, But what was the girl's name that attacked her?
Savannah Evans.
Savannah Evans. So you might see a new Fire Flavor unless they're gonna change the name, and then they're gonna go after the Knockouts title. I see Savannah look like the type of girl that could go one-on-one with Havoc. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they did the right thing. I mean, they saw that They just break up the team and then left it, everybody wondering like, oh, what happened, you know? So they saw that Savannah went and beat her up, and now she's out of the equation, out of the storyline. That's it.
Well, we see Miller interview Kazarian coming back to Impact. He said he was there because he had promised to chase the Elite wherever they went, and it happened to end up being Impact. He spoke about all the men that built Impact, but this was yesterday, and he's here for today. Asked if he was okay too with two men that had a lot of issues between them. Kazarian told her he trusted Dream's decision to recruit him. Then we see Violent by Design going to Scott D'Amore's office to confirm their rematch clause at Emergence, and D'Amore says Swan and Mac beat them and also deserve a shot at the title, so it would be a three-way dance for that. We get a recap of last week's altercation.
You see what I'm talking about? How are you putting Mac and Swan? I just finished saying, let them go one-on-one. You add another team, a three-way dance. Oh, I'm done. Well,
this is what they do. We see Steve Macklin defeating frontman JRC. This was the demolition job. After the match, Macklin kept stomping until Pete Williams came down to make the save. We see a new installment of All About Me with Tenille Dashwood, carrying on a feud with Taylor Wilde, and Scott D'Amore basically saying Wilde requested a match against Dashwood and granted it. We get a recap of last week's Moose versus Chris Sabin match, and then we get the main event, which is Eddie Edwards, Sami Callihan, Frank Kazarian defeating world champion Kenny Omega and Impact Good Brothers. This was Kazarian's first match in Impact since May 2014. We see Callihan taking Omega out with a pile driver in the apron right before Edwards hit the BKP and got the win. And after the match, Don Callis checked on Omega with sending his neck. Edwards was hyping the crowd, but Morrissey jumped him from behind, hit a powerbomb, and posed over his fallen body. No one even tried to help Edwards. This had nothing to do with Kazarian, this main event, in the end.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, but he's the elite hunter. He's chasing them anywhere, you know. I don't know. He probably doesn't care. Guy's been around forever in wrestling. He just don't care. He's getting a paycheck. He don't care. I don't know. But again, this is what I'm talking about. Impact does stuff that it mind boggles you. I'm sure you be at home and you watch these shows. You be like, what am I watching? Why are they doing this? You know, and I watch when I get a chance, and when I do, and I see the clips, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, why are you giving Willie Mack and Swan a title shot? They just lost in Slammervesary. So why are you giving them a three-way with the Good Brothers? I guess it's I don't know. I mean,
honestly, yeah, it is that sometimes, you know. We talk about ratings as well when it comes to Impact. They averaged 103,000 viewers for this episode on Axis TV.
It's kind of low.
Their lowest viewership since the record low of 1,000 viewers on the July 1st, which was due to a program guide error apparently. And we'll see. And they drew a 0.04 rating in the 18 to 49 key demographic. So we'll see what happens with that, but I don't think they're really worried about ratings that much. Our last episode of Impact is the 12th of August. We see Tenille Dashwood with Caleb McKay versus Taylor Wilde, where Tenille Dashwood won with an assist from Madison Rain. And what is Madison Rain doing here? Well, it looks like Tenille...
Didn't she retire?
She did, but she's finally back, and it looks like Tenille, after all this time, has found a tag team partner.
Oh my goodness, I can't. Didn't she left the fucking booth last year? And she was like, I think it was like in the beginning of this year. She was leaving. I'm done with fucking Impact. This company, I don't know what it.
Well, we get Daivari versus Josh Alexander next. Josh Alexander wins, and then Jake Summit gets in Alexander's face and a statement that he's coming for the X Division Championship. It's a good match. Josh is so crisp. And then we see Impact Wrestling Stars asked who we think will win between Kenny Omega and Christian Cage on Rampage. And Sami Callihan thinks it will be Cage, and no one else seems to care. No matter what happens, the Impact World title needs to come back to the show, and they want it to come back home. The Good Brothers blame Violent by Design for making a match a triple threat. The place doesn't belong to them, it belongs to us, says Eric Young. And Gallows gets in Doring's face and offers a match for next week. So next week we're going to get Gallows versus Doring. That
about time.
Can't be bad, can it? That can't be bad.
Well, I hope they do wrestling moves, not slugfest, because usually big guys do slugfest. But Joe Doring is not a guy who's going to just do slugfest. That guy was a former Triple Crown champion in Japan. So, Gallows always been a tag team. And it's going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to watch that.
Well, we see Kira Hogan come into the ring and grab a mic. Fire and Flavor was all supposed to be better than that, but let's address the issue. She thought Tasha was a real one, understood her better than anybody. I guess she thought she could be a quick one over her by bringing in a goofy ass friend. Tasha already knows what's up with her, and all they know is the song goes, make sure you know what you want for your ass, which calls Tasha out. But it's Su Yung and Kimberly. And Kimberly looks scary. She attacks Kira Hogan, but stops in the tracks. Young has a gross glove and puts it on at the same time. Kimberly puts her own on and locks in the mandible claw. Su Yung is controlling everything she does. Lee drags Kira Hogan away by her hair. So, like we talked about Kira Hogan, Fire and Flavor is over, and this is her way to get written off completely. But what are your thoughts on the Su Yung and Kimberly? Do you kind of like that Decay-esque dark gimmick?
Su Yung, when she was doing that dark gimmick shit, was the best thing that I think Impact did. I mean, even when I used to watch it back, I think 3 years ago, when she was the Impact Knockouts champion, I liked her gimmick. But then when they changed it, she was part of the. I don't know if she's still part of Deanna Purrazzo group, but I said to myself, you know, when are they gonna change it? I didn't like that she come in with a business attire and all that stuff. She looked stupid to me. The dark side, the dark Su Yung is what I like. You know, Kimberly, get rid of Kimberly. She could do something else. I don't know. She could be in the back of catering, offering cupcakes to people, whatever. Because she can't wrestle for shit either. I'm sorry. You know. But Su Yung, you need to bring that old Su Yung. If you're bringing that Rosemary back, you know, that darkness and the decay and all that, bring Su Yung back and let her join Decay. That will be a creepy ass faction. Because you have Crazy Steve, you got Taurus with a missing horn, who else? Havoc, and then Rosemary. I mean, should be fun. Get rid of the Kimberly. She doesn't match up with her.
It's something they're going to try to do. And then we see Don Callis and Kenny Omega shouting subterfuge and skullduggery in their attempt to get screwed out the Impact title. Our next match is Finn Juice versus Bullet Club. Juice Robinson, David Finlay versus Jay White and Chris Bay. Your winner's Finn Juice by DQ after Jay White used a chair. It seems the plan was to take David Finlay out at all cost. He drives his head down hard on a steel chair and sits in him with a title. Leader of the Bullet Club is ready to retain at New Japan's Resurgence pay-per-view. And what I found really clever with this is, like I say, Impact using New Japan talent and using Impact, because obviously it's a weekly show to promote the pay-per-view that they've got coming up. I thought this was great all round.
Yeah, I mean, that was the fact that they made that a main event match, and then you have Jay White attacking David Finlay. It sets up that, because that's going to be the main event at Resurgence. So, you know, why not do something like that? And then everybody's going to be like, oh my God, you know, David Finlay's going to get his revenge, and he'll beat Jay White for the never open weight title, which is not going to happen. And if it happens, I'll be surprised. But, you know, I mean, this again, Impact is not stupid. They know, they figure, well, we're going to promote their pay-per-view. They'll promote ours. It's like one hand washes the other.
I remember about a doubt. We see Tasha Steele saying the heatwave was winding down for Kira Hogan, so somebody had to go. Therefore, she had to make some changes, bringing in Savannah Evans. We see Deanna Pratt, who's been training with Alicia Zapatelli to broaden her repertoire for a match with Melina at Empower. And we see next week Melina's going to show what she has to offer. Christian Cage is asked about his match on Rampage. He says he's become a better wrestler through his history of fighting in Impact and, of course, other places as well. He owes something to them. His goal is to return to the Impact as world champion. For all those guys in the Battle Royal, good luck. But just know they'll be facing the new Impact world champion, Christian Cage. And then Matt Cardona versus John Skyler. John Skyler won after distraction from Rohit Raju and Shearer. So an upset victory here. And is this the right thing for Cardona? Because obviously he's not contracted to Impact. But would you rather see him as kind of like a mid-lower card feud here rather than anywhere else?
You know, the way he's at right now with Impact is fine with me. Because he's not contracted. He's not, you know, I think he has a deal with just a per appearance. He doesn't have no contract at all with Impact. I mean, and he's happy with the way he's doing things right now. I mean, again, he's a game changer champion, the wrestling champion. I think he's trying to, what I'm hearing or what I'm reading online, he's trying to change game changer wrestling, even the belt. He wants to call it the Universal Game Changer Champion. So where he's at right now as far as in Impact is fine, because that means that if they're not coming back the following week, somebody else can replace him in that spot. You know what I'm saying? So, he's doing fine. And again, Chelsea Green, that arm, that wrist is not 100%. She re-broke that. I think I sent you a picture. She re-broke that wrist. So, so I think the fact that she's even being part of that show, I think it's next week or the week after NWA Power, and I think she's participating in the Ring of Honor tournament, or I think she left. She's not doing it. I mean, I gotta give her credit because she's still putting herself on the line, even with that wrist all messed up. I mean, you gotta give it to her.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Well, the main event, the last match we're going to cover, is the 20-man Battle Royal number one contendership. We've got Eddie Edwards, Sami Callihan, Rhino, Morrissey, Suicide, Johnny Swinger, Falaba, No Way, Hernandez, Moose, Ace Austin, Madman Fulton, Willie Mack, Rich Swann, Brian Myers, Sam Bill, Trey Miguel, Dina, Chris Sabin, Petey Williams. Who would your pick be in this matchup? Because I got to think that Sami Callihan's got to be one of the favourites.
Yeah, Sami Callihan, of course. Yeah, but there's one now. If there was a Cinderella guy there, Madman Fulton. That guy has not been pushed like he's supposed to be. When he was part with Sami Callihan, this guy was dangerous. They put him with Ace Austin. This guy's getting pinned and getting beaten in tag teams. That was one of the guys I would have took, Madman Fulton.
Well, we're going to see what happens in this matchup. Recognising the threat Morrissey posed to them, the field teamed up to eliminate the Dina and Rhino paired off with Swann and Matt, leading to the elimination of all four of those competitors. Boost dumped Edwards late, then booted Callihan off the apron, and as a former NFL star appeared to be rolling familiar foe Sabin applied to Seeper. With neither man balanced, Brian Myers emerged from out of nowhere to eliminate both and score the unexpected victory. Honestly, I did not see this coming, but I've been talking about Brian Myers and saying he's ready for months. Both of you, both of us have been speaking about it, and I think this was one of the most entertaining battle royals in years. And what do you think?
Brian Myers winning the tournament, and like I said, we doing this podcast, he deserves it. I mean, the guy has been putting in the work the last 2 years since his debut. And, what they did to him in Homecoming wasn't something that will elevate him. I think this is their way of paying him back and whatnot, because like we talked about it in the Homecoming review, that Missy Hyatt thing that they did was stupid. It wasn't gonna elevate him nowhere. So with him winning this, and now he gets a shot at the Impact World title, it's perfect. The guy deserves it. I mean, right now, if you look at the guys right now in the main event, Sami Callihan right now is pretty much feuding with Kenny Omega. We don't know when he's getting another title shot. Moose, they got him all over the place. We don't know where he's getting a title. So why not Brian Myers? Give Brian Myers a shot and see what happens. Who knows? He could win the belt.
As I say, anything could happen, and I think this is what we've seen looking at Homecoming and Impact the past month. I think it has been the real winner with the Forbidden Door, and I think it really is working out for it at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think it is. And as long as that, I think that thing with the Sam Beal guy, if he's going to be the lackey, I mean, it's perfect because, he'll find ways to cheat and whatever. And, now that he's going to get the title shot, I think he's getting the title shot next week, if I'm correct. So if he finds a way to cheat to win, I mean, I won't be surprised if he becomes world champion. The guy's been putting in the work.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Well, that has been brilliant having you on the show as always. Finally, before we go low, breaking news from last night as we record this now, the first episode of AEW Rampage, and we have a new Impact champion, Christian. What are your thoughts on Rampage, and what were your thoughts on Christian beating Kenny Omega? Because I maybe suspected as much, because it was just the way they made the match, and I thought the match delivered in spades as well.
Okay, so you ready for my review on this? Because I have a reason, and I think why they gave the belt to Christian. So as we're recording this, all right. Of course, you said Christian won the belt last night. The reason that Christian won the belt was because today Omega is supposed to defend the AAA title at Triple Mania in Mexico against Andrade. I think he may be losing that belt also, because I think what's going on is maybe this belt collector situation where they were probably trying to get other promotions to get involved, where probably Omega gets all the belts, and it'll be like some Infinity Gauntlet shit. I guess other promotions felt that okay, we'll put the belt up, but we're not gaining nothing out of it. Or AEW does, and pretty much NWA is one of them, and Ring of Honor is another one. MLW, they still work with AEW from time to time, though they use younger talent, whatever. And I think this is the reason why Omega lost the belt, because it probably was too much for him. Especially this month, him defending the belt against Christian, then he would have to defend the belt against Andrade tonight. And Christian is the first of all, when they announced that Christian was going to face Omega at All Out, and then they said he's facing him in Rampage, I said it won't make no sense for Christian to lose in Rampage, because you're not going to make me believe that he's going to be up for the AEW title at All Out. That's not going to happen. So this move is a smart move, because then Christian becomes a world champion and became the world champion. Now he can go to Impact. He can go back and forth. And in reality, if you think about it, he was an Impact alumni back when he won the NWA belt. So that makes more sense. Now, Omega, if he loses the belt tonight in Mexico in Triple Mania, then he could just concentrate on the AEW title, and then he'll probably beat Christian at All Out. And then the Adam Page storyline continues, and, it still has legs. So Omega will drop the belt to Page at Full Gear. That's my prediction on everything.
Yeah, and this is the great thing about it as well, because the thing is that Omega gets his win back against Christian at All Out, and then Christian can maybe drop the title at Bound for Glory in October. You can still have Christian lose to Omega again, still have that third match between the two, but they don't lose face, because obviously Impact now has beaten AEW. AEW will beat Impact, and then the third score won't matter, because obviously, the way they've done it. I think it's a really clever way. We've spoken about this past, year or so, how they're going to do it with Kenny Omega. I think Christian winning it, and now him doing the Impact kind of, the tapings and stuff like this, and building up towards challenger for Bound for Glory will make sense. And like you said, Kenny Omega and Adam Page story in AEW can have the payoff like we all want as well.
I think, and also if you think about it, when all this was happening, Kota Ibushi had won the IWGP belt at Wrestle Kingdom. Then Will Ospreay won it. And I think it would have, Will Ospreay would have never gotten hurt, I think you still could have had that mega match between Omega and Will Ospreay for the both belts on the line, the AEW and the IWGP. But because Will Ospreay got hurt, now I guess everything gets messed up. Also, I remember Nick Aldis said, if I'm going to face Omega, then Omega has to put the belt, and because I'm not putting the belt, I'm not getting nothing back, which makes sense because you've been the champ. He's been the champion for 1,000 days, so he's gonna put his belt, and Omega's not putting his belt. So I guess at the end maybe MLW probably didn't feel like putting themselves in that situation, even though they have wrestlers going in and out through that forbidden door. Same thing could be said about Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, I don't know if they're still working with New Japan or not, and I think they are because Brody King wrestles in New Japan under the New Japan banner. So it could have been a lot. I think it would have been, the fact that maybe Omega feels that him trying to do the storyline is too much because he's wrestling everywhere every other month, 2 or 3 times. So probably he figures, you know what, I need to take a break, and let somebody else do that. I mean, the way they did it last night is I loved it. I mean, I was just shocked because I'm like, when I saw Omega drop the belt, especially where his head went right to the chair, I was like, wow. Okay, I was in my house screaming, like, oh no, hell no, this is unbelievable. Because I was expecting like a disqualification. That's what I was expecting because I saw the Young Bucks come out, and if you guys haven't seen this, you guys got to see it. This was a heck of a match. I think I will give it that match a 4 3/4 because it was awesome.
It really was great stuff, and today has been really great stuff, and it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. But that is it for now. Don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR WNRJR. Do you want to tell us where they can find your stuff?
My stuff, you can find my stuff on the Chokeslam Wrestling Report at Apple, Spotify, what else? Amazon Music. You can also find my YouTube channel, the same thing, Chokeslam Wrestling Report, and you can find my my apparel, which is tcwr.veryimpressive.com, tcwr.veryimpressive.com. You can get the Chokeslam Wrestling Report hat and T-shirt available on that website.
Brilliant. And the Double also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. So let's email doublepodcast@gmail.com. And the Double Podcast on YouTube, where the latest clips and podcasts go at the same time. And you should do SoundCloud on your phone, and also Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. And I just want to say as well, I know you've got your own show. Of course, the Chokeslam Report is one of my favourite podcasts that I listen to as well. But I know you come on here in a big part. And I just want to say, to me, you're always going to be, and I offer you like a full-time membership of the WNR podcast, basically.
Thank you.
Like so, you're welcome anytime. And my plan is to have you on quite a few times in this next month, because next week, and I know you're not a huge WWE fan, but we've got the SummerSlam live party, and of course we could always talk about Resurgence, NJPW, and AAA Triple Mania.
Okay.
And the following weekend, we Impact have got, of course, Emergence, where we'll see Brian Myers versus Christian Cage for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship, a match we didn't think was going to be possible 24 hours ago. You know.
Yeah, I need you. I know that we talked about having you in my show. I'm thinking of doing maybe having you a week before All Out, so we could talk about the previews, our predictions, all that stuff, AEW. So you're always welcome in my show anytime. So like so that's what I want to do with you. We could do like a preview. I usually don't do previews because I figure like I might get a lot of my stuff wrong, but I want to do a preview with you as All Out, because I know we're gonna have fun on it, and we could talk, and we could do fantasy booking and all kinds of shit.
Perfect, Matt. Well, like I say, we've got AEW All Out coming up. We've got Impact, Emergence, and of course next weekend we've got the SummerSlam live party, man. So like I said, we'll work it out, and it's always having a pleasure you on, and especially across the pond.
Yes, New York City and the UK.
Yes, and like I said, it is a pleasure having you on. Our next episode of the WNR podcast will be AEW Prelude with Jaxie. But until then, I've been James Rollins, and I was joined by the fantastic Ultimate One. Again, Thank you very much for joining me.
No problem, brother. No brother. Anytime.
All right, always a pleasure. Never a chore. Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care. Stay safe, and bye.
Peace.